We've come to the end of the road. It's the final countdown. It's the last chance to either book a spot in the World Cup or clinch a berth in the CAF playoff to go to the Intercontinental Playoff. Guys, we're here to talk about it. What do we know so far? And what's at stake starting tomorrow or today, depending on when you watch this. This is the Africans, primarily Canadian African content. This wouldn't be the Africans, we didn't do both. So sit back and enjoy what we already know. First, let's talk about teams and the group standings where they are. First, in Group A for CAF, Egypt have already qualified. They are there. Burkina Faso are in second place. They are fighting for a intercontinental playoff spot, and they are still in the running for it. And we'll talk about the IC in a minute. In Group B, Senegal lead DR Congo by 2 points, and they head into their final match day with Senegal needing at least a win to go through. A draw would do it unless DR Congo wins their last matchup by 7. Group C, one of the more lively teams and lively groups. Benin lead the group with 17, South Africa with 15, Nigeria with 14. All three are still eligible to win the group. And because the goal difference is so close, we have to mention right off the bat, Nigeria plays Benin. And if there ever was a game that was your fate is in your hands. It's Nigeria versus Benin after all that they've been through, including apparently a cracked windshield in their plane against all the odds. A big win versus Benin, and their former manager could get them to the World Cup. Unbelievable. Group D, Cape Verde still lead with Cameroon in second. Libya are only able to qualify for the Intercontinental Playoff. And we'll talk about the matchups there. Group E, Niger and Zambia are still alive for that intercontinental playoff spot. Tanzania already eliminated with only 10 points. Group F, it's the top two sides again, Cote d'Ivoire and Gabon on 23 and 22 points, respectfully. Both would qualify for the second place intercontinental playoff, but a win from either and a loss from the other would result in them qualifying. Algeria already qualified, and Uganda are still alive for the intercontinental playoff. So they have some points to make sure they keep up with. Group H, Namibia are still alive, though they are 10 points behind Tunisia. They are still alive and are going to be pushing to try to qualify. In Group I, Ghana more than likely are moving due to the goal difference. They would need a large loss to their opponent, and Madagascar could still win the group, but they would need a large win for them and a large loss from Ghana in order for them to swap. But either or, Ghana would qualify as well for the Intercontinental Playoff. So let's scroll down here and talk about it. As you notice, there are 7 games. So CAF does have a policy for if teams have dropped out. Eritrea, I call it, and maybe this is not fair, but I call it the Eritrea initiative because if Eritrea says they're going to show up and then they didn't in this case, the CAF policy is to eliminate the 2 lowest matchups and the results. So effectively what's happening here is we see all the groups here listed without their games against the last place teams in their respective groups. Now what that means is their total will only be 8 games as well. And with the points, so when we look at the points here, Gabon still leads the second place groups with 16 points. Cameroon have 14, DR Congo have 13, and Madagascar have 13 as well. And then once we keep moving down, we get to the goal difference battles. And this is where it'll be very fascinating. That's why Burkina Faso are still alive. Uganda are still alive. South Africa and to an extent Nigeria are still alive as well in Group C. Niger, this does a lot of good work for them. A win could do some lovely wonders for them. Then Namibia as well are fighting to get to, but they would need a big win and possibly even. No, I think based off how this looked, Namibia could be eliminated just based off of the points that they have access to. So With that being the case, we move into games starting Sunday. So, depending on when you're watching this, they may be happening now or they may be coming up shortly. So, there are big matchups we need to talk about, which will surely show the games and will affect the results. The first one we have to talk about is the first game tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern Canadian time here, because we're in Canada here. Namibia versus Niger. Niger are fighting to keep their playoff hopes alive here. And I think that will be a very fascinating game to watch and see if they can get through because those points, as we talked about, will affect where they land. Madagascar, who are in second place in Group I, face Mali at 3 p.m., as does Ghana face Comoros. Both games starting at the same time. So we'll have to watch and see as the goals either mount or don't. A draw does nothing for Madagascar. They need a win for their best chance, and they want to make sure that they're piling up points to secure a spot in the top four, if not try to win the group outright. We have Burkina Faso who are playing Ethiopia tomorrow at 3, and that's a good slate for Sunday. When we look at other games, Djibouti versus Sierra Leone, Chad versus Central African Republic, and and Egypt versus Guinea-Bissau are your Sunday matchups. When we get to the Monday matchups, Tunisia versus Namibia. Namibia needing to put up points, needed as well. Equatorial Guinea, I should mention, didn't show up to the last game, so I'm wondering if they come to this Liberia matchup or not. We'll have to wait and see. Cameroon facing Angola, as well as Cape Verde versus Eswatini. And these two matchups, if Cabo Verde fall, and Cameroon win, Cameroon would retake the lead of their group and qualify automatically. But as it stands now, if the results ended in a draw, Cabo Verde would qualify for their first World Cup in maybe their first World Cup. Then we get to the Tuesday matchups. Monday, we have Lesotho versus Zimbabwe, but the Tuesday matchups are very interesting. You have Benin versus Nigeria, as we mentioned. That is win and you're in. That is the control your destiny game. South Africa playing Rwanda, fighting for a second place slot. Uganda as well playing Algeria, both as well fighting for a second space slot against Algeria. Hopefully, Uganda are hoping that Algeria will heavily rotate so that they have the opportunity to put up a good performance and win. But I mean, Algeria, you want to hopefully see out a good qualifying campaign here with a win. Other games of note, we have Somalia versus Mozambique, Seychelles versus the Gambia, and the likes. And these are the big games. To me, I think that Niger versus Zambia game are very big, but nothing really overlooks Benin versus Nigeria. A control your own destiny type of game. We are hit. This is it. There's no more space for mistakes. It's now or never. There's a lot of pressure here, and we'll see which teams are able to emerge well. Guys, let me know which teams you think will make it through. So far, the North Africans have made it. If I had to give a prediction, and I'll throw up the groups as they stand. If I had to give a predictions of the teams coming through, who I think will go through, we already have Egypt. I do believe Senegal gets it done. DR Congo do play Sudan in their final game, and Sudan had a nice run, but in their last few windows just couldn't get the results they needed, and as a result, are eliminated from there. But I think Senegal go in Group B. In Group C, which I think is the question, I think South Africa get it done. I think South Africa are able to get a win in their final game versus Rwanda, which will be a very difficult game for them. I do see a scenario where Nigeria maybe gets past Benin. I don't think it'll be a large number. Every time we think Nigeria will give us a big win, they struggle and give us a struggle 1-0, 2-1 win. So I do think Nigeria will beat Benin, but I also believe that South Africa will defeat Rwanda, and therefore Nigeria may end up in second, depending on how the score line goes. But South Africa will win. Nigeria in second, but I think South Africa wins the group ultimately. Actually, no, I'm going to go Benin finishes in second. I think it's only a 1-goal win. And as a result, Nigeria aren't able to pass Spain in. In Group D, Cape Verde over Cameroon. I think the teams that they're playing get it done. So Eswatini versus Cape Verde, I think they get that win. And there's nothing that really changes that. Their last one was a 2-0 victory for them. So I think they can get that result. Cape Verde can get the result. Group E, we already know it's Morocco. Group F, Gabon in their final matchup are playing Burundi. Of note, though Aubameyang had 4 goals to get the win over the Gambia, he did get a second yellow and will miss this next game. So are Gabon Avery? Yes, Dennis Bouanga is still a thing. But look at the goal difference. Even if they were able to, it would have to be a straight swap. And so I think Cote d'Ivoire, who are facing Kenya in their final matchup, I believe they get the job done, and Gabon goes straight to the playoff. Uganda, I think we've already seen that with Algeria being the qualified team, Tunisia as well. And in Group I do believe Ghana gets it done. The goal difference being the major factor. It's a +8 goal difference. So Ghana would have to lose the game by at least 4, and Madagascar would have to win by 5. I don't see such large numbers. And so I think Ghana make it through even if they lose. And for my second place spots, my prediction is Gabon, Cameroon, DR Congo. I would really love to see Burkina Faso in it, but for the moment, I'll go chalk with Madagascar. So as it sits, you guys let me know as we go through. We have 3 more days left of competition. Let me know in the comments, and as always, I'm gonna stop talking right here.